Well, joining us now from our Haifa studio is Arab affairs expert Wadie Abu-Nassar. Thanks for joining us, Wadie.
Good evening.
Well, the motives behind Friday's attack are still not confirmed, and authorities are still investigating whether it's nationalistically motivated, and have not ruled out maybe it's linked to Islamic State. What we do know is that it was allegedly carried out by an Israeli Arab, Nashat Milam. And do you feel this now puts the Arab community at the center of the blame for recent upsurge in violence?
Well, we have to highlight that Nashat Milham is one out of about 1.5 million Palestinian Israelis who are loyal to the state. And unfortunately, it happened, but the vast majority of people have not to be linked to this. As there are Jewish terrorists, there are some Arab terrorists, and I believe this should not be affecting the Arab-Jewish relationship. On the contrary, I believe that such an incident should instigate the government, should help the government to boost better relations between Arabs and Jews, instead of hearing some unaccepted statements by the Prime Minister regarding the Arab community in the country.
Well, are you witnessing any increase in incitement in the Israeli Arab community during this current wave, as the Prime Minister has repeatedly claimed?
Well, there are impacts by different regional developments, especially the so-called Daesh and the instability in the various Arab countries around us. There are some impacts on the Arab community that one could not neglect. But on the other hand, one has to admit, and you in your reports mentioned the great gaps between Arabs and Jews in the country, and now they are talking about almost 70 years since the creation of the state, about still efforts to close the gap, but nobody is talking about the end of the gap, at least not in the foreseen future. I believe that the combination of these elements are affecting negatively and help creating some kind of fertile ground for further misunderstanding and sometimes even hatred between Arabs and Jews.
Well, do you agree with the Joint List leader, Ayman Odeh, who argues that the root of the problem is not the incitement, but Israel's occupation?
I believe it is both. No doubt that, again, at the end of the day, it is the Israeli government who is the parent of all citizens in Israel. And I believe that this parent is not doing sufficiently to its citizens, especially not to the Arab ones. Simultaneously, one could not neglect the fact that there are some radical elements in the Arab society. I believe that these guys are marginal, as they are in the Jewish society, are marginal. But fertile ground and lack of sufficient government treatment allow those to grow and to be more vocal.
Well, what do you make of the fact that almost a dozen of these perpetrators of these recent attacks were Israeli Arabs or carriers of blue identity cards?
Well, again, I tell you, there are some kind of exceptions in every society. There are criminals and terrorists almost in every nation. See what happened with Duma. Can we say that all Jews or all settlers are terrorists? The answer is no. There are always some exceptions, and we cannot generalize. I believe we have to treat things as they are without exaggeration and without generalization. On the contrary, I believe that now, especially amidst this wave of violence, it is the time to reflect on offering a comprehensive solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which would include also, or should include also, providing full equality to the Arab citizens in the country.
Well, we've just seen the government did approve a historic budget deal that allocates nearly 15 billion shekels to improve the Arab community and to narrow these gaps between the Arab and the Jewish citizens. Well, how is this being perceived now in the Arab community?
Well, there are different views, because according to different reports, including some institutions, the needs are, in order to close the gaps, are 42 billion shekels and not 15, which were allocated. And some people say that at the end of the day, only 10 billion will be allocated. In any case, in order not to go into numbers, I believe it is the problem is the strategy and the policy, not the figures. The vast majority of the Arabs believe that this is a good step in the right direction, but still a long way has to be gone together. Arabs and Jews, especially with a positive attitude by the government and not an inciting one.
Well, on that optimistic note, thank you so much, Wadie Abu-Nassar, for joining IBA News.
Thank you.